And speaking of the drought, we're no strangers to drought here in Central Texas, so much so that when I say words like drought, water conservation, water shortage, it starts to get a little bit mundane after a while. So I want to make it interesting for everyone by introducing you to a little friend of mine, the Barton Springs salamander. Discovered in 1993, the Barton Springs salamander is an endangered species that thrives on the oxygen-rich waters of Barton Springs and the Edwards Aquifer.
I like to say they're kind of the mascot of the springs or even the city.
Nathan Bendick,
It's a flow meter.
program supervisor,
Dimension,
and head salamander biologist,
This is 5.
is leading a team of environmental scientists on a population survey.
You look at this spring, Barton Springs pool, the other springs, this spot, and the aquifer that feeds it, the only place in the world where these animals live. And that's pretty unique.
The salamanders can be impacted by the flow and the level of water bubbling up from the spring and aquifer beneath. Keeping track of the population is one way water experts can determine if more or less water should be pumped up from the ground. This is what we call groundwater management.
We're doing a capture-recapture survey where we collect the animals and we're going to photograph them. From that information, we can tell what the abundance of the site is, so we can compare that to last time, to 10 years ago, and we can see what the trend of the population is. We can also look at how survival has changed over time and movement patterns.
The salamanders aren't the only creatures who rely on this groundwater.
That one has a couple of good eggs.
The Edwards Aquifer, which feeds Barton Springs, supplies around 93,000 people with drinking water in Central Texas. Managing this groundwater becomes much harder when drought conditions worsen.
1 CFS is about the amount of water that could fit into a standard beach ball. So every second, there's 20 beach balls of water popping out of Barton Springs. That sounds like a lot, but on average, it should be 68 CFS. So we're less than a third of what flow should be at Barton Springs.
From the measurements taken near the time of the salamander survey, the district reports that Barton Springs flow is still in stage 3 critical drought. Scientists have calculated that the rainfall loss at this site is up to 35 inches. 33.5 inches is the average rainfall Austin receives in a year, meaning the drought has cost our groundwater a whole year's worth of rain.
The aquifers are deep underneath us, and so they're not getting all of the water that the plants up here are getting. It takes a lot longer and a lot more rain for it to soak in and really replenish our groundwater levels.
It's all about balance. For salamanders to flourish and humans to drink and swim, we all have to share the same limited source of water.
These things are special. It's the only place in the world they live, and that's part of what makes Austin unique. I don't know if it helps make it weird or not.
As we head into summer, it is super important to be thinking about where our water comes from and how to conserve it. Experts told me that one of the best things we can do is let your lawn go blonde.
Oh, mine's been blonde for months and months. It finally turned green recently.
I rent, so I'm like, who cares?
I like the word blonde. It makes it sound better than actually just dead.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Most people don't know we're using drinking water to water our lawns, and in the summer, that capacity, right?
What, 60 to 70% of our water that we use just goes to the lawn. So if we can cut back on that, we can really help things out.
No, especially with the recent news coming out of the stage 5 for the Edwards Aquifer, right?
Yeah, when I did this story, it was at a stage 3, which is also critical drought, but now we're at a stage 5, which is the highest level. So we really need to be conserving as much water as possible.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it today, but we are still in a drought.
We enjoy the rain coming down,
Yes.
for sure.
Thank you, Grace. So interesting.